Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This week I'm out shooting some macros. It's been a month or two since I've shot any macros, so I wanted to get out. It was raining all night long last night, so I thought it would be good, everything being wet and all kinds of droplets of water in the trees and leaves and everything out in the local nature reserve. So that's where I'm at, just a local park shooting macro. Got my 105mm 1:1 Sigma macro lens on my D500 today. So the D500 is a crop sensor, so you're going to get more reach, right? You're going to be closer in, and just felt like doing that with the D500 today. So I'm going to try to get some beautiful abstract macro nature shots today. So thanks a lot for coming by the channel. If you haven't already, hit the old subscribe button and drop me a like, drop me a comment, and let me know how you're doing. So, all right, everybody, hey, here we go. Thanks so much. So this first shot that I found is just this overhanging branch of this bush, and you know, there's no leaves, there's nothing like that on the bush at all, but there's symmetry within these rain droplets that have hung on to the branch itself. So it's like 37 degrees and a little bit windy today, so it's cold and wet and windy, but that coldness is going to make those droplets hold their position for a while. They're not going to be moving around as long as the wind isn't blowing too hard. So what I like about this shot here is just the symmetry of the droplets, and you'll get a reflection in the droplets, and the background, although it's going to be blown out because I'm shooting macro and I'm at like 3.5 aperture. The background, there's symmetry in the background too, with the trees off in the distance. There's like a line of trees, like 3 or 4 trees in a row. So yeah, so that's what I'm liking about this shot. I'm gonna shoot it right now. Just gonna shoot this one landscape. I don't think I'm gonna go portrait with it, but it never hurts to do that, just so you have options when you get back into Lightroom. But yeah, here we go. I'm gonna shoot this right now. All right, we are off and running. I like that shot. Got one in the bag already, and got a lot more exploring to do. So here we go. All right. So I just shot the second shot, and really the same premise. I like the symmetry. I like the droplets, pattern, texture, color. The thing is, like on that last shot, forgot to check my settings in my D500, because last time, it's been a while since I shot with the D500. ISO was turned up to 2500. So whatever, I'm not going to go back and shoot that, but just, you know, rookie mistake, and just a lesson for everybody. Always check, make sure your settings are correct. The other side of that coin, the ISO, you know, when you're shooting macro, wind is really your enemy, right? Because especially early in the morning when there's no light, that wind is really going to give you camera shake. Subject, if you're out in the woods like I am, is going to be moving, swaying a little bit in the wind, and your shutter speed, like, until I bumped my ISO up to, I think I bumped it up to 640 just a minute ago. But when I was down at 100, 200 ISO, I was getting a shutter speed of 1/40th of a second, and that was wide open. So obviously that's not gonna stop, you know, these trees even gently swaying in the wind. So yeah, so it's a trade-off sometimes, but you got to find that balance point where you're happy with what you're going to get, and you know, if you want to print it, you want to have as low of an ISO as possible. And if you, depending on the size, if you want to print it big, you want the lowest ISO you can possibly get. So it's a trade-off, but yeah, anyway, so settings are all good now. Just shot this one, like it, 2 shots in the bag, and still really have lots and lots to look at before we get out of here. Alright, I think I found my next spot, and just kind of figured out how I want to shoot it. Obviously still sticking with the macro lens. The only other lens I actually have is my 50mm, which I love that lens. But anyway, so I'm down here, there's a little creek, and there's lots of green, whatever, algae, clover, whatever you want to call it. And you can see there's a lot of contrast, there's a lot of pattern, there's a lot of texture, and there's a big sweeping leading line taking you through the image. It's still a tight, almost abstract type of image, but at the same time it's kind of a landscape image. I don't know if that makes sense, but either way. So it took me a while to figure out how to shoot this. Gonna shoot it portrait orientation. I'm gonna actually have to get down in this water, which is not good. Also have to focus stack because I want everything tack sharp from front to back. So that's the thought process, and I'm gonna try to shoot it right now, and hopefully it comes out. And if it did, I'll put it up right now. Alright, so I'm done shooting here. I did not get that shot that I kind of set up for you guys earlier. I did look at it with my 50, put Polarizer on, did the whole thing. It just didn't like it at the end of the day. So sometimes what you have in your head isn't worth shooting, or you don't want to shoot, or whatever. So I just let it go, and that's okay. I did a lot of other shots around here. More like looking straight down at the subject with the macro lens. And when you do that, even on a gray day like today, it's still gonna cast a little bit blue, and that's okay if you're shooting in RAW, right? Because when you get into post-processing, whatever program you're using, when you shoot in RAW, you have more flexibility and ability to fix any color casting that you might get. And I shoot on auto white balance 99.9% of the time, so that's another good reason to shoot in RAW. Get in post-processing, you have a lot more control. So good idea to shoot in RAW. If you're not shooting in RAW already, definitely do that. Unless you're shooting like sports, you can shoot JPEGs there, but landscapes for sure, portraits for sure. Yeah, almost everything else. If you have the ability to shoot in RAW, I would definitely recommend that. Any shots that you haven't seen already, I'll put up now. Alright, so for this next shot, or maybe set of images, I found these little mosses and grasses growing on this fallen tree. There's droplets of water on them, and I'm doing like a true landscape macro. I'm trying to focus on some of the droplets that are in the middle. So that means the ones in the foreground and the ones in the background, and the whole, you know, background to infinity will be way out of focus. And it's gonna be, it should be a gorgeous springy, very springy type of image, greens and browns and all that stuff. So thinking spring with this one. What I did was, you know, I got the tripod down low, got in close. The crop that I'm seeing in my head, I'm gonna have the row of grasses that stick up above the moss in the upper third, cutting across horizontally the frame, and in front of the image will be, that's going to be falling out of focus, it's going to be the mosses and then the tree, and then in the background just will be blurred out of focus, so that really doesn't matter. So yeah, so that's what I'm shooting right now, and that might be the last shot of the day. It's still raining and getting a little bit colder, so, and I just got over a cold, so there's that. But we'll see. I really like the way that Clover's shot back there came out. I didn't even know it. I walked right past it at first and kind of looked back, and I don't know, something caught my eye, and I went back to it, and I still didn't see it. I looked around and it's like, what the heck, there's something here, and just kind of waited around until it literally hit me. So yeah, sometimes that's what you got to do, is find a subject, an image that you want to shoot. But yeah, I really like how those came out. I shot it from a different angle, a couple different angles, and the one thing when you shoot in macro, if you move your camera just a little bit, it really changes the perspective like an inch. So I moved my tripod up just slightly, couple of times left and right, couple times up and down, a couple times, and it really changed the perspective. So remember that when you're out shooting macro, just the slightest little adjustments make a big difference in macro photography. So very cool. I think we're gonna leave it at that. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the old like button. If you haven't already, hit the old subscribe button so you can stick around. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And also, I'm looking for a new website host. I've been on Zenfolio for a long time, and it's not really cutting it for me, and I don't have the skills to build one in WordPress. Any of you out there have thoughts on that, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think, because I definitely need a better website, one where, you know, you guys can go and purchase some digital downloads, purchase print here and there, or whatever. Definitely looking for a new hosting site. But anyway, yeah, let me know if you know of anything. So thanks again. Always appreciate you guys taking the time to stop by the channel. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week, everybody. Bye bye.